Hey, I see you.
Thank you.
What if I told you there's a man in Monaco whose presence is so powerful, even the royal family pays attention when he enters a room? His name is Zeus, not the god of myth, but the billionaire who turned one of the world's smallest countries into his personal empire of power, style, and influence. In a nation where luxury is everywhere, from streets filled with Bugattis to marinas glowing with billion-dollar yachts, Zeus didn't just live the dream. He redefined what the dream meant. Every car he drives, every yacht he owns, every event he attends seems carefully choreographed to make Monaco itself revolve around his image. But behind the shimmering perfection of his lifestyle lies a deeper story, one built on mystery, ambition, and control. Who is the man that made Monaco his stage, and what secrets keep his empire alive? Welcome back to Inside the Billionaires, where we uncover the private worlds of the world's richest. If you love luxury, power, and untold stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and stay until the end. The next few minutes may change the way you see Monaco forever. Every empire begins somewhere, but Zeus's rise didn't start with luxury yachts or diamond watches. It began in silence, behind closed doors, with a man who refused to accept the limits of an ordinary life. Long before Monaco knew his name, he was quietly building, studying markets, mastering negotiation, and surrounding himself with the kind of people who could open the right doors. He arrived in Monaco not as a celebrity, but as a strategist. While others flaunted wealth, Zeus observed, he learned the rhythm of this tiny kingdom, how influence moved faster than money, and how visibility could be as valuable as gold. Within a few short years, he transformed from an unknown businessman into one of the most talked about figures on the Riviera. His method was precise: never chase attention, command it. Every appearance, every event, every investment felt deliberate, almost cinematic. And soon, the whispers began. Who is this man who moves like he owns the city? By the time the world noticed, it was already too late. Zeus had built a network that reached from the casinos of Monte Carlo to private banks and luxury real estate towers overlooking the sea. He wasn't just living in Monaco, he was quietly rewriting its rules. But this was only the foundation. Because once Zeus secured his place among Monaco's elite, he did something no one expected. He reinvented what Monaco luxury truly meant. Luxury has always been Monaco's identity, but Zeus turned it into an art form. When he arrived, the country already shimmered with wealth. Penthouses touching the sky, the Monte Carlo casino glowing every night, and yachts big enough to eclipse small islands. Yet Zeus saw something no one else did. That luxury in Monaco had become predictable. To stand out, he needed to redefine it. His first move wasn't louder, it was smarter. He invested not in what was already glamorous, but in what could symbolize power. From hidden art galleries to bespoke car ateliers, every move he made added layers to the Zeus brand. Soon, his name began circulating among the world's elite, whispered in the same breath as royalty and legacy families. Zeus understood something fundamental. Wealth alone doesn't make you unforgettable. Narrative does. He built one carefully. Every appearance in public became an event. His clothes, cars, and homes weren't random displays. They were statements of identity, each detail designed to project command and vision. The media began calling him the man who made Monaco modern again. Under his influence, even the way people experienced the city changed. Cafes where he was seen turned into hotspots. Events he attended doubled in prestige. Luxury brands lined up just for a mention in his orbit. Monaco, once a quiet haven for the wealthy, had evolved into a stage, and Zeus its main act. But his true transformation wasn't about fashion or fame. It was strategic. He understood that in Monaco, where space is scarce and visibility is priceless, control over image meant control over destiny. And soon, Zeus would expand that control beyond the streets, out to the glittering sea where his next empire waited, a fleet of floating palaces that would make the world watch in awe. They say the true measure of power in Monaco isn't how tall your penthouse rises, it's how many yachts bow when yours enters the harbor. For Zeus, the sea became his second kingdom. His yachts weren't just boats, they were floating symbols of authority, precision, and unmatched taste. Each vessel carried his signature, minimalist design, flawless Italian craftsmanship, and an atmosphere so exclusive that even Monaco's elite whispered about what really happened on board. Unlike others who flaunted luxury for attention, Zeus used his yachts as extensions of his strategy. They were private arenas where deals were made, alliances formed, and reputations quietly elevated. Cameras were never allowed. Guests described evenings that felt more like royal ceremonies than parties. Orchestras playing under Mediterranean sunsets, chefs flown in from Paris, and conversations that could reshape fortunes. To the world watching from the docks, these ships became legends. Each arrival of Zeus's flagship drew crowds of tourists, journalists, and investors, guessing who might be on deck that night. For many, it wasn't just a yacht. It was a statement that Monaco's horizon now belonged to him. But behind the elegance was control. Every appearance, every docking, every journey was calculated to build the myth. His fleet didn't just travel, it spoke. It told the story of a man who turned water into a stage and privacy into power. Yet, for all the attention his yachts commanded on the waves, Zeus's true passion roared on land, in engines that could shake Monaco's streets and announce his arrival before anyone even saw him. In Monaco, the streets themselves are a runway, and Zeus turned every curve, every roar of an engine into part of his legend. Before people saw him, they heard him. The thunder of a Bugatti, the whisper of a Rolls-Royce Phantom, the unmistakable hum of a Pagani customized to his exact specifications. These weren't just cars, they were his calling cards. For Zeus, speed was never about adrenaline, it was about symbolism. Each car represented a philosophy: power under control, elegance built on precision. His collection wasn't hidden in garages, it moved through Monaco like a royal parade. Locals could tell when he was near simply by the echo bouncing off the marble walls of Monte Carlo. But behind this spectacle was strategy. Zeus understood that in a city defined by appearances, arrival mattered more than destination. Every time he pulled up to the Casino de Monte Carlo or the Hôtel de Paris, photographers and investors alike turned their heads. His vehicles became instruments of influence, moving advertisements for his empire's perfection. His private collection was rumored to include rare prototypes never sold publicly, each modified to reflect his persona: subtle, flawless, and untouchable. Some even whispered that he designed his cars not to impress others, but to remind himself of how far he'd come, from nothing to a name Monaco could not ignore. Yet even with the world watching every arrival, Zeus knew true power wasn't in engines or metal. It was in perception, and the woman who mastered that game was about to step into his world. In every empire built by power, there is always a figure who stays unseen, the one who moves the pieces while others take the spotlight. For Zeus, that figure was the hidden queen, the woman whose influence whispered through every corner of Monaco's elite circles. While the cameras chased Zeus's every arrival, she remained one step behind, crafting the image that made him untouchable. No one could quite trace where she came from, and perhaps that was intentional. Some described her as a former art curator with an eye for perfection. Others claimed she once worked in luxury branding, mastering the psychology of admiration. But whatever her past, her presence beside Zeus changed everything. She wasn't decoration, she was design. Every public move he made carried her invisible signature: the color of his suits, the tone of his interviews, the way his empire looked more like an idea than a company. The queen's genius lay in her restraint. She never spoke to the press, never posted, never confirmed, and that silence became her greatest weapon. While others tried to prove their worth through visibility, she built hers through mystery. The more people speculated about her, the more her legend grew. Insiders often said she was Zeus's mirror, not in competition, but in vision. He ruled through presence, she ruled through perception. Together, they created a modern myth, a couple that turned Monaco's luxury into something almost cinematic. Their partnership blurred the lines between wealth and storytelling, between real life and legend. And yet, behind the grace and glamour, there was intent. Every partnership, every collaboration, every subtle appearance in Monaco's elite calendar seemed to serve a greater blueprint. She wasn't just protecting Zeus's image, she was expanding it, piece by piece, into a network that touched every corner of the city's luxury economy. Because what came next wasn't just image building, it was empire building. The Queen and Zeus were about to merge influence, media, and real estate into one seamless machine of power. Power in Monaco isn't measured by how much you own, it's measured by what people believe you own. And that was where Zeus played his most brilliant game. He didn't just build wealth, he built influence. The empire he and the hidden queen designed stretched far beyond yachts and supercars. It reached into media, fashion, and real estate, forming a network that quietly shaped the image of luxury itself. Zeus understood that control over perception meant control over destiny. So while others invested in properties, he invested in stories. He acquired stakes in lifestyle magazines, production houses, and fashion events, subtly placing his brand where admiration was born. Editorials started referencing his taste, journalists echoed his aesthetic, and soon, even Monaco's social media scene carried traces of his vision. Through the Hidden Queen's guidance, their empire entered the world of high fashion. Exclusive collaborations, limited edition collections, and charity galas turned their names into symbols of sophistication. They didn't need to market themselves, luxury brands wanted their approval. Behind the glamour, every partnership served a deeper strategy: to make the name Zeus synonymous with timeless prestige. Then came real estate, the most powerful chess piece in Monaco. Zeus began acquiring prime properties not for profit, but for symbolism. Every tower, every penthouse, every private residence reflected a chapter of his story. From Monte Carlo to Lavoto Beach, his developments redefined what billionaire living meant. The city wasn't just a home, it was his signature carved into the skyline. The empire was seamless. Media fueled fame, fashion added allure, and real estate cemented legacy. Together they created a cycle where perception drove value and value reinforced myth. But as Zeus's influence grew, so did curiosity. How much power could one man truly hold in a country this small? And what would happen when that power began to attract not admiration, but scrutiny? Because every empire built on image eventually faces its reflection. And Zeus's would soon be tested by the one thing he couldn't control: the stories others told about him. Every empire, no matter how carefully built, eventually meets its reflection. For Zeus, that reflection came in the form of attention. As his influence grew, so did the whispers. Monaco, a place that thrives on privacy, had suddenly found its most private citizen becoming its most talked about figure. And while Zeus never sought fame, his legend became impossible to contain. Rumors began to swirl about his business moves, his fortune, even his personal life. But Zeus understood something few others did. Silence is louder than denial. Instead of responding, he let mystery become his defense. Every unanswered question turned into curiosity, and every headline only strengthened his myth. He once said to a close associate, "Control the story, or the story controls you." And that became his guiding principle. Behind the scenes, his team worked like a finely tuned orchestra. Leaks were managed, appearances were timed, and narratives were subtly redirected. For every rumor that surfaced, another image of grandeur followed. A yacht gala, a charitable foundation, a new development in Monaco's skyline. He didn't fight speculation, he overshadowed it. But fame, even the controlled kind, has a cost. As Zeus's legend spread beyond Monaco, international media began circling closer. Journalists wanted exclusives, competitors wanted exposure, and even admirers wanted answers. The line between curiosity and intrusion grew thin. Yet, through it all, Zeus maintained his composure. Calm, deliberate, and unshaken. The Hidden Queen's strategy played a key role. Together, they turned every controversy into momentum, every question into intrigue. What others saw as risk, Zeus saw as relevance. Still, behind that calm exterior, the weight of attention was shifting. The empire that thrived on mystery was now balancing on it. Because in the world of luxury and legacy, the greatest challenge isn't building power, it's preserving it. And soon, Zeus would discover that even empires built on perfection must one day face the test of time. Legends fade. But what Zeus left behind in Monaco wasn't just a legacy, it was an evolution. Even after years of dominance, his name continued to echo through every marble street and glittering skyline of the principality. Monaco no longer just represented luxury, it represented Zeus's vision of what luxury could become: purposeful, calculated, and powerful. His influence went deeper than architecture or wealth. He changed how people thought about status. To the world, Zeus turned Monaco from a retreat for the rich into a living brand, a fusion of elegance, secrecy, and aspiration. Real estate agents spoke of Zeus-style design. Young entrepreneurs studied his strategy. Even rival billionaires adopted his formula: blend privacy with spectacle, exclusivity with presence. What made Zeus's mark truly lasting was that he understood the rhythm of Monaco itself. In a place smaller than Central Park, space was priceless, and so was reputation. He built both. From Port Hercules to the hills of Monte Carlo, his touch reshaped how success looked, sounded, and even felt. But beyond the tangible, Zeus's true legacy was psychological. He inspired ambition in those who watched from afar, proof that wealth could be more than accumulation. It could be identity. His empire taught that power wasn't just about what you owned, but how the world saw you own it. Even today, the myth of Zeus lingers, not in headlines, but in conversations whispered at yacht shows and luxury conferences. People still ask, was he a visionary who built Monaco's modern age, or a mastermind who built himself into its reflection? Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: Monaco will never be the same. The city he once ruled with silence and spectacle continues to glow under his invisible influence. And while the man himself has faded from the spotlight, rumors persist of a new chapter, a hidden project said to carry his name beyond Monaco's borders. If true, the world's most mysterious billionaire may not be done rewriting the definition of luxury just yet. In the end, Zeus didn't just build an empire, he built a myth that forever changed Monaco. His story reminds us that true power isn't about what you show, but what you can make others feel. From the golden lights of Port Hercules to the echo of supercars racing through Monte Carlo, his legacy still lives in every corner of the city, quiet, commanding, and eternal. But behind every legend lies a question. Was Zeus shaping Monaco, or was Monaco shaping him? That mystery is what keeps his story alive, a reminder that in the world of billionaires, luxury is temporary, but legacy lasts forever. If you've enjoyed uncovering the secrets of Zeus's untold empire, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss another journey into the world of the ultra-rich. Your support keeps Inside the Billionaires exploring deeper, telling the stories no one else dares to reveal. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is just one chapter in the endless world of wealth, mystery, and power. See you in the next episode, where another billionaire story is waiting to be discovered.